Okay, thank you all for coming. My name is Luc, and I'm from the Department of Ecology. Have we not all been there one time, right? Our class is literally sleeping while we're talking, right? And I don't believe in saying students just don't care. I believe in thinking the good part of students, which is that they have a lot on their mind, and they really have to balance a lot of things at once, as you can see in the picture below. And so my target as a teacher is to bring them to this type of situation when we can see here a professor is listening somewhere in the back and everybody is turned around, looking at that person. They're all engaged, right? And how do we do that? I believe that I can do that through ecology by using critical thinking. Critical thinking is all that theory that relates to reasoning, problem solving, and evaluating questions. And for that to work, I believe to answer that question. Most of my students through years and most of the students I talked to always told me, I don't see the meaning of what I'm learning in the classroom. And that's what I want to answer. I want to show them what's the meaning of what you're going to learn in my classroom. How do I do that? I do that by designing and creating engaging experiences. I'm teaching ecology, so I'm lucky enough that we have like those majestic animals and phenomenon, right? So it goes from strip lane mining that you have in Kentucky that they can relate to, and we talk about the succession that goes from reclaiming a mine. We can talk also about conflict of animals at the Yellowstone National Park, what to do when farmers, habitants, hunters, park officials are sharing the land, right? And finally, Lexington lands perfectly for that type of questioning because it's a mesh of nature and urban area, right? As you can see on that view. But to do that, I cannot simply lecture. I have to take my position from the side on the stage to become the guide on the side. I need to let them do their own thinking, right? So that's the theory and how I create engaging experience, but it will do nothing if I don't follow up with a nice design of assessment, right? Because otherwise, if I go back to simply MCQs, multiple choice question, and ask them simple rote memorization question, it's like letting them down. And to do that, I decided on the last module of my class this semester, I engage them in group discussions over the 6 last lectures that will lead them to develop an understanding of the problematic, a case study. Over the time of the 6 lectures, they prepare for a final debate in which each group divide the amphitheater in different groups, and each of those groups have a different position. So I don't see any of my students, so I can tell you that the different groups of this semester, it's all about that tree that is disappearing from Florida, and some people are literally transferring it to other part of the country, which is making that tree invasive. It's a problem, right? But that's the only way to save it. So what do we do? And some of them will be pharmaceutical companies, because the trees have some components that can be used. Some of them will be inhabitants of Florida losing their trees. Some of them will be governmental agencies. And by doing that, I engage each of them to think from a different point of view that might be their own, right? And they have to wrestle with ideas. And I do all that with the hope, and I've seen results in the past, to achieve general learning outcome. And those outcomes, I will link them back to critical thinking when relevant for you. So the first one I've seen is the knowledge and understanding. Of course, they have to think critically about the position, about the different problematics at play, about the different agents. And that can only be done if they know what's happening in the situation and they understand it. Then they develop skills. They have to develop an argumentation, they have to talk, present in front of a class at the end. So it's some skills that they don't have so far, and they have to work on that. They also develop a certain type of behavior, which is team working. They are assigned teams, they have to cooperate, they have to work together. They cannot just do their own thing, get their grade, and go on, right? So I force them to see that they're going to have to work with each other. Of course, you always have a type of enjoyment that creates inspiration in those students. Because when I use subjects such as landstream mining, that's close to heart, that's here in Kentucky. And so they can think that they're doing something, and they're actually doing something that matters, right, to them personally. And finally, I change their attitudes and values. Instead of being uninformed citizens, I change them to be informed citizens, taking that steps in their own lives afterwards. I enjoy seeing them realizing I can do that on my own now on any other issues that I encounter. And that's how I teach critical thinking through ecology. Thank you.